Are you looking for new books to read? Do you like finding a new special author? Are you tired of the same old books from the same old authors? Well then, welcome to Discovered Wordsmiths, a podcast where you can hear from fantastic new authors. Join Stephen Schneider as he finds and talks to authors you may not know, but authors that have worked hard to write great new books. Hear about their book and why you should check it out. So sit back and listen to today's Discovered Wordsmith.
Here we go. Davia, morning or afternoon. Welcome to Discovered Wordsmiths. Great to talk to you. How are you doing today?
I'm good. How are you doing?
Good. Great. Let's find out a little bit about you before we talk about your book. So tell everybody what you like to do, some of the things you do outside of writing, where you live, things like that.
Well, currently I live in Brunswick, Georgia. I'm originally from Jamaica. I was born and raised in Kingston, Jamaica. I think I moved when I was 21.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. So I'm like full-bred Jamaican. I currently live in Brunswick, Georgia. And outside of writing, I pretty much I read a lot and I'm always watching Netflix, something.
Got it. So why'd you move from Jamaica?
I got a job offer originally I got a job offer in Beaufort, Georgia, which is northern Georgia. And then I got another job offer like a year later down in Brunswick, where I am today.
Okay. Do you go back to visit? You still have family back there?
Yes, I still have my parents back there. My little brother is back there as well. I try to go back once a year, but it's been hard because of COVID.
Yeah. Yeah. I used to work on a cruise ship that went to
Mhm.
Grand Bahama Island. So I haven't been
Oh.
everywhere down there, but I mean, I definitely bragged to everybody because it was over Christmas. And I said, yeah, guess what? I'm on a beach with a blue ocean. You know, it was like very beautiful and gorgeous.
Oh, I've always wanted to go to the Bahamas.
Yeah. So that's about as close as I've gotten. So you said you like to go back, visit family. Do you do anything, music or anything like that?
No, I listen to a lot of music, but I am not musically inclined at all.
Okay. It just, it seemed like you might be a musical person. A lot of writers, it seems, are. Um,
I get that a lot, actually.
okay. I don't know. Maybe just I'm thinking back to the music when I was working on the cruise ship.
Oh.
uh, so, what made you start writing? What you said you got a job here, and
Mhm.
now you're writing. Do you still have the job? Do you just write? What got you started to want to write?
I still have the job. I work in hospitality and events. I
Oh,
run a
nice.
lot of mostly weddings, but I don't think there was like a set time in my life when I wanted to write. Um, I just always have been. I remember getting really good feedback from my high school English teacher on a short story I wrote, and I kind of just kept going and going. And I took a creative writing course in college, in Jamaica when I did my bachelor's degree, and I fell in love with it there. That's when I really started taking poetry seriously, and I thought, hey, I can like do something with this. So I kept writing. I still write today. I try to write every day, but life.
Right. Well, I imagine there's a lot of weekends you don't get to write just because you're probably
Oh
at a
yeah,
wedding or something like that.
yeah. Sometimes two, three weddings for the weekend. Like it's crazy.
Now, I know this isn't necessarily what you write, but it just seems like with that type of job, being at weddings all the time, it sounds like you'd be writing romance and writing these wedding stories and stuff.
Yeah, you would think that, but I do not like love poems.
Gosh,
I think I'm horrible at it. I've tried my hand at it before, and it always ends in like something very depressing. But I try.
okay, I can go with that. So, you're writing. You have a book out. Tell us about the book. What's the title? And give us a little bit of what it's like, what it's about.
Okay, so it's called To Fight Fire with Sun, and it started after what I like to call my hell week. It's like the worst week of my life, and it was just like one thing right after the other, and the week ended with my best friend in Jamaica, um, he had been diagnosed with leukemia and he ended up getting COVID. So he
Yeah.
passed away. And it was like a breaking point for me. And he had always encouraged me to like write a book. And I said, you know what, I'm going to do it. So I booked a ticket to Jamaica and I spent 2 weeks there and I wrote the book. And now here we are.
So like you wrote the whole book in 2 weeks.
Yes, I did. A few of the
Wow.
poems are from like my college courses, my creative writing courses, but I wanted to do something that like really helped me get through my grief. So a lot of the themes in the book it's talking about loss, whether through love or I did write about processing Alex's death, and 2 weeks later here I am with a whole book.
Wow. Well, I mean, condolences on your loss. I know a lot of people have
Thank you.
gone through a lot of that during these last couple of years. But
Yeah,
to channel that into writing, I think that's, pretty powerful. I think that's been the not inspiration, but the spur, the push that
yeah,
some people use and channel their emotions into that writing. So did
definitely.
you said you've been planning, do you think you would have written the book without this event that happened in your life?
I think I would have, but I think it would have taken me a lot longer than it did. I think that was just the catalyst that I needed to actually like sit down and do it.
Yeah. So do you have plans for other books?
Yes, definitely. I am working on my second book right now. I'm hoping to release it later this year. Um, and I eventually want to get away, well, not get away, but venture into short stories and possibly like YA fiction. But right now I'm focusing on poetry.
Nice. Okay. So your poems, do you have a favorite like poet that you could say, "Oh, my stuff's like this." Some other poetry.
Uh, I do kind of think I'm similar to Pavana Reddy. She wrote this amazing book called Where Do You Go Alone? Um, I just love that book, and I think our writing styles are similar. Um, but I think I have a slightly unique voice in that I have my Jamaican experiences mixed with my American experiences, and it comes out in it.
Okay. And this may be a little weird. If you thought about writing before, did you think about, like you said, the short stories in that,
Mhm,
and then the poetry wasn't as much thought of, or have you always wanted to do poetry? I'm because I and the reason I'm asking, I'm not trying to be weird about it,
mhm.
um, but sometimes I know I've talked to other authors where they want to write a novel, but they just can't get themselves to do it, and then they found writing short stories kind of got them into writing a novel. So I'm just, did the poetry, was that always your plan, or did you uh, do this because of what happened to you and you're like, oh, well, now I know I can write, for that confidence?
I've always written poetry, but I've always wanted to write a novel. And I've kind of always known I've been kind of good at poetry. Uh, but to answer your question, I think I am trying to like better myself in poetry and then get to the whole short story before I get into the novel aspect of it because it's super hard.
Yes.
Yeah.
And the reason I ask, because as you know, a lot of the authors, a lot of people that listen to the podcast are new authors, and a lot
Okay.
of people I talk to just struggle. I want to write, but I can't. And blah, and it. I like that you're moving into the stories and books, and you still have that poetry. So
Hmm.
it's nice to hear. You didn't just write one thing and then like, oh my gosh, I can't. It's helped you
Yeah.
move on. So I love that.
Definitely.
So the poems, the second book, is this going to be a series? Are they connected or just?
It's slightly connected. It's I wanted to do something that it could be standalone, but if you read it right after my first book, it kind of flows. So that's kind of what I'm going for, and I can tell you that it's going to be basically about emotions on a whole, exploring emotions.
Well, that's understandable
Yeah.
considering what was going on.
Yeah.
Um, so is this self-published or traditionally published?
It's self-published.
Okay. Did you consider traditionally, or did you always want to do this self-published?
I've always wanted to do it traditionally, but I don't know what made me try self-publishing. I was looking around on Google one day and I was like, you know what, I can do this, and then I just went for it.
Okay, nice. And your stories, short stories in that, you're go self-publish those also?
Yes.
Okay, we'll talk more about author stuff coming up in the second half here, after we talk about the books. So, what's the title of the book again? To Fight Fire with Sun.
Yes, it is.
Why that title?
I was driving home from work one day and I was thinking, as we all do when we drive home from work, and it just popped into my head, that line, to fight fire with sun. And I got home and I just wrote it down immediately. And I really loved it. And I don't even know where it came from. I like to say that like the little creative theory like popped into my head and just gave me a great idea. But essentially, I like to think of To Fight Fire with Sun in that whenever life gives you anything, you come back at it full force. And that's what I was going for with the title To Fight Fire with Sun.
Okay, so is there an actual poem in the book with the same title?
Yes, the first poem in the book is called To Fight Fire with Sun.
Okay. So, and all the rest of them are all about emotions and dealing with grief and death, you said.
Grief, death. I have a few of them trying, kind of dealing with love, but it gets depressing. So
Right. You don't want to get people depressed when they're trying to read romance. That kind of goes against.
exactly.
Yeah. So, what's the feedback been? What have people been saying that have read it?
It's been phenomenal actually. I've gotten a lot of great feedback. I There's one review in particular that stands out to me where she, well, I'm not really sure if her gender or his or her gender, so they um basically started by saying that they detest my writing style, but they can't they can't basically say that it wasn't well written. They said every poem was well written and it felt like um something that a human would really relate to. And I think that was like one of the best reviews I've ever gotten.
Nice.
Um, yeah, so and it's been very great feedback from friends, family, from people that I've haven't even met. Like my someone made a video of my book on TikTok when they got it. Like that was just amazing.
That's cool. So you got that book talk or whatever they call it. I haven't done it.
Yeah. I'm
Nice.
trying to break into it, but it's a little rough.
So you speak English. I mean, I couldn't detect. I don't detect any accent. But did you think of translating this so you have it in two languages?
No, our main language in Jamaica is English, but I have been thinking of like using my native language in some of the other poems for my second book that I'm getting into. I'm trying to really explore that Jamaican side of me, which for that one I will probably do a translation for both, but we'll see, when the time comes.
Right. I mean, I'm not a huge poetry reader, but I definitely would be interested seeing a book of poems where it's like English on one side and Jamaican on the other, and comparing and seeing. Even though I can't read it, it would just be interesting to me to see that. I think that would be unique. Could be something
I,
unique.
it is a great idea, so thank you for
If you do that, I want to see it. Definitely, I'd
that.
like to see what that looks like. So I usually ask people movies or TV shows that they'd like to have their book turned into. I don't know if that works so well with poetry.
No, it doesn't. I have seen like poetry turned into like a music video, and that's kind of what I want to go for.
Oh, that would be cool. That
Yeah,
now you're talking about breaking into the TikTok. That would be something to do. Hire someone to create a video with your poetry, uh,
yeah.
and
I've been looking, but it's rough with like my full time job and everything. So
yeah, I understand. I'm not the video person, so but I like that idea. Uh, I
yeah.
know I know that's the type of thing my wife would definitely be attracted to. Some nice
Mm.
video with a poem being read over top of it or something. She likes those types of things a lot.
Oh, I should
So
try that.
yeah, hey, it can't hurt just to read it
Mhm.
yourself and get some videos that go with it of some just my thought, but because you have a very nice voice. I think it'd be very
Oh,
pleasant to
thank
listen
you.
to in
Thank
something
you.
like that. So, hey, give it a try.
I will, and I'll
So
give you complete credit.
we're getting a little off track on the book, but I like that idea. So, do you have a website for people to go to?
No, I'm currently working on my website right now. I hope to like make it fully published within a month or two. But no, I don't currently have a website. I just have my social media pages.
Okay. And where can people find your book?
It's available on Amazon, major online retailers. It's also available on this great bookstore that's based in Australia called Amplify Bookstore. And I had reached out to them for them to like put my book in their inventory, and they loved it. And they represent BIPOC authors, so
Oh,
it's a great bookstore.
nice. Okay. I'll have to put links to that. I'll look that up.
Mhm.
That's very cool. That sounds definitely, this is our world. You're from Jamaica, you live in the States, and you have a bookstore in Australia that's featuring your book.
Yeah,
I
that's
love
crazy.
that. Yeah, it's pretty cool. Uh, so you mentioned you like to read a lot. What are some of
Mhm.
your favorite authors, and what are some of your favorite books?
Currently, so my favorite books change like every day. So currently, I'm reading The Bridge Kingdom by Daniel L. Jensen, and I love it so much. Apart from that, I do like there's this book called Skies by Neil Shusterman. I like the whole YA
Yes.
fiction aspect of things, and that's what I've always been drawn to. I love fantasy, I love YA fiction. So between those two, as for poetry, I'm a huge Worcestershire fan.
Okay.
She has, I mean, I just love all her books, and she's an amazing poet.
Nice. Okay. And down there in Georgia, do you have a favorite bookstore that you like to go visit?
There's this bookstore. It's not in Georgia. It's actually an hour away from me in Jacksonville, Florida, and it's called Chamberlain's Book Line. And I don't know if you're familiar with Doctor Who,
Yes.
possibly based on your the background.
Yes. Yeah.
But it's actually like a TARDIS. It looks so small on the outside, but as soon as you go in, it's like miles and miles of books, and it's my favorite bookstore ever.
That's pretty cool. So I take it you watch a little sci-fi at least.
Yeah, I do.
Okay. Yeah, I wasn't big on Doctor Who until my wife
Mhm.
turned me on to him. So which one's your favorite Doctor?
Ooh, I don't think I really have a favorite
Oh, really?
one. No, I think everyone brings in like a certain like aspect to it, certain characteristic to it, and like personality trait, and I love them individually.
Got it. Okay,
Hmm.
that's fair. Okay, and when you go back to Jamaica, do you have a favorite bookstore down there?
Mm, no, I don't
No.
even think I really go back to the bookstores there. There is one that I loved when I was little, and it's called Sangster's Bookstore. It was just I would like drive my mom insane, like spending hours in there at a time. But ever since I moved, I haven't really been back to any of the bookstores there.
Okay. Just curious because I like to put links to the favorite bookstores on the show
Okay.
notes, and I
Hmm.
don't think I have any from Jamaica yet. I've got Canada and Scotland and Australia and a few others. So,
Oh well, I'll send you that bookstore
okay,
link.
that would be pretty awesome. All right. So, we want to talk some author stuff also. But before we do, tell everybody listening why they should get your book and read your book.
I think if you as a reader want to experience someone putting into words like your thoughts, your feelings, what are your experiences, I think you should pick up my book because I want to say that I think I've done a pretty good job at like relaying those feelings, especially when as it relates to grief and loss. So that's my main reason why I think you guys should read my book.
Nice. Cool. And I agree with that. Thank you.
Thank you for listening to Discovered Wordsmiths. Come back next week and listen to another author discuss the road they've traveled, and maybe, sometime in the near future, it might be you.